Hi everyone, it's New Jersey Garden. I wanted to do a mid-May garden tour. This is my little side garden bed right in front of our deck, and right now we have Perennial Alyssum basket of gold that's blooming. I'm going to be planting some bachelor buttons in this space. There's a lot of peonies that will be blooming within the next month. I see the buds already starting. And then this is an allium here. I'd like to plant some more alliums. And then this is perennial creeping phlox. This is my sensation lilac, and with lilacs it's really important to prune the shrub right after they bloom because the new buds for next year set right after the flowers fade. And I've done a pretty good job pruning this shrub. There's a couple other lilacs that don't look as pretty as this one. And then over here I have to do some more mulching. There's some Asiatic lilies in here mixed in with daylilies, some daffodils that have just gone past. And then on this side of the garden bed we have to mulch. It's just so weedy over here, but I have a new lilac shrub that I've planted in a few spots. It's called the Josie Lilac, and it's right here. It's a really delicate lilac shrub. I don't think it gets as big as, you know, the sensation lilac that I have. It's supposed to stay pretty small. And then over here I have all the sweet williams that will be blooming in a couple weeks. This garden bed is right against our garage, and I've noticed the foxgloves that we planted here last year are doing really well over in this area. It's a little shady over here, so there's another foxglove. These are, I think they're called Dalmatian peach. They don't get to be that tall. And then I just have some more daylilies with some daffodils that have just gone past. And then over in this garden bed, I mentioned this plant before. It's a silky dogwood. I planted it last year. It was a tiny little bare root, and so it's getting really large. Over here I have Maltese cross that will be blooming in about 3 weeks. And then my lady's mantle has been dying out. It's really sunny over here, so I don't think my lady's mantle has done that well. And then in this garden bed I have a lot of poppies, oriental poppies that will be blooming soon. And then this flower that's in bloom is actually an herb. It's called soapwort. It doesn't have any fragrance, but I love how it dangles over the little wall here. I just planted wild bergamot in this spot. There's more poppies. These are white, fragrant lilies. I have a little bit of catmint in here, and there's a new iris this year that will be blooming soon. I have some yarrow in this garden bed. I try to plant flowers that are deer resistant because we have a problem with deer here. And I have been spraying my flowers for deer. I got three or four lily bulbs just eaten right off. The stargazer lilies were just eaten off by the deer recently, so I have to be more diligent in spraying. But I try to just grow things that the deer will not like lavender. And then finally the crepe myrtle has started to leaf out. It's gotten quite tall. It has really nice little berries in the fall, and it has really pretty pink flowers in August and September. And then I planted something last year. I planted butterfly weed, and that's starting to pop up. I have there's a daylily. I have a lot of liatris over here and some brown-eyed Susan. The brown-eyed Susan is a biennial, so what that means is the plant will die and just self-sow, and I'll just get seedlings the next year that turn into plants. So I have a lot of weeding over here. Usually in the spring I try to thin out the brown-eyed Susans because they do spread everywhere, but I do like them and they make really nice cut flowers. So I like them, but they are a little bit of work. And then I have some peonies over here. These are two newish ones. I believe both of these just developed from seeds in other areas of the garden, so I moved these over here a couple years ago. This is a Echinacea or coneflower. These are Liatris. The spiky plants are Liatris. I have a lot of Liatris. And then I planted another perennial. Culver's root is supposed to get tall. I'm going to see how I like it. I just planted that today. I also have in here a lot of blanket flower. There's a little more soapwort. It's been dying out. I had a lot more over here by the mailbox. The deer nibbled on the clematis, but it's surviving. It just got really chewed off a couple weeks ago, so I've been spraying it. I'm excited about the rose campion. I planted several rose campion plants last year, and they'll bloom for the first time this year. There's some more Culver's root that I just planted. There's some more butterfly weed. And then I planted a lot of yarrow here last spring. I think it was the Colorado mix. It's supposed to be pinks and yellows, and a lot of it turned out to be kind of like off-white, so we'll see what happens this year. And then over here I have a lot of peony plants. I think I have 10 peony plants. So those are starting to bud up. I have more coneflower. This area is really shady. I just have a lot of daffodils that just went past. This is a geranium that I planted last year. I tried to divide it. This is probably my most weedy area under this dogwood tree. I think it's because I'm right near a couple of my neighbors and there's a lot of trees overhead. I just get a lot of little tree saplings in here, and just a lot of weeds seem to blow over here. It's an area that gets a lot of weeds, so that's why we mulched. But I'm finding that the weeds have been coming a lot because we had a lot of rain recently. The weather has finally gotten warmer just very recently. So there's more coneflower in here, and there's this is the rose campion, and then over here this is black-eyed Susan, and then this is the pink is perennial Phlox. So this is what the garden looks like. The dogwood tree was like a darker red flower, and now it's turning to like a light pink, and then it will leaf out. And I'll go show you the second lilac shrub. It's getting really chewed up by the deer, so I have a few blooms at the top, but on the bottom I've had a lot of deer damage. You can see that right there. They just chew off the branches. So they chew off the leaves and the branches. I just love lilacs. I love the scent. I wanted to show you my lettuce. These are 3 different types of lettuce. This is red fire on the right. In the middle is a romaine. I believe it's the Paris Island Cos. And then over on the far left is the baby gem romaine, and I can't tell the difference between these 2 romaines. But they're almost ready to harvest. I do plant my seeds really close together so that I just snip them with scissors when I feel like having a salad. I haven't had success growing full heads of lettuce, so I'm happy though the way this looks. We'll have a lot of lettuce for a few weeks. And then over here is the vegetable garden. We have a lot of strawberries that will be that are blooming right now. Quite a few. We had a groundhog that was coming in and eating all my peas a few times, so the peas are really slow right now. They're just really behind, but we were able to humanely trap the groundhog and relocate it. I'm hoping there's no more groundhogs. I do have fencing around this garden, but the groundhog still was able to get in. So here are the peas. I had grown a couple varieties of peas. I believe the ones in the back were just a regular sugar snap peas, and the ones in the front might have been the super sugar snaps. But the super sugar snaps didn't perform that well. The regular sugar snaps in the back performed better. So, and I have to water these tomatoes, but I just planted some tomatoes. I planted 3 varieties that I was growing in the basement. These 2 here are called Prudence Purple. They're an heirloom. And then I have Brandywine here and here. And then I have grown a cherry tomato called Sun Gold. There's one there. And then I planted some Sun Golds mixed in with these strawberries. A couple Sun Golds are in here. So once the strawberries are all done, I'll stake those Sun Gold tomatoes. But I am excited for these strawberries. I was a little worried because we had an animal coming in here in the winter and nibbling off a lot of the strawberry you know, stems, but they look like they're doing fine. I also just planted cashflow zucchini in here. I tried to spread them out. I planted these in containers 2 weeks ago, and now I'm just transplanting them out. Tried to give them about 3 to 3.5 feet of space in between. The borage came back this year from last year. I had a couple borage plants and they self-sowed, so I don't need to plant any borage this year. But I love borage because it's an herb and it has a really pretty edible flower, and it attracts a lot of bees. I had planted some sunflowers a couple weeks ago and I've had very little come up, and I think the slugs are getting it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant some sunflowers in these containers and just transplant them. I have the dwarf teddy bear, I have cutting gold, and sunrich lime. So I'll plant a few in these containers and then transplant them as soon as they come up. And then I also want to plant some moonflower this year, so I'll be planting that. So I'm going to plant that in a container. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the mid-May garden tour, and stay tuned for more tours and more planting and more flowers and vegetables. Happy gardening!